This is your first multi-voice time writing at 140 words per minute. Your proper names are Yvonne LaPlante O'Brien, Detective LaPlante O'Brien, LA County Sheriff's Department, Whittier PD, Alhambra PD, Whittier, Ms. Torres, Trap, Honda Accord, Peoples 1, Bait, Peoples 2. I am Ms. Torres.
The witness?
The court.
Ms. Torres.
The witness?
The court.
It is going to begin with colloquy by the court. Ready?
Please raise your right hand to be sworn. You do solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Please have a seat in the witness stand. Can you get by there?
Yes.
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Yvonne LaPlante O'Brien. YVONNE. LaPlante, LaPlante. O'Brien, OBRIEN.
Thank you.
Detective LaPlante, what is your occupation? Well, should I call you LaPlante or O'Brien?
I am currently O'Brien, recently married.
Okay, if I slip up, I'm sorry. What is your occupation and assignment?
I am currently assigned to the Auto Theft Task Force for Regional Auto Theft. I am a detective for the LA County Sheriff's Department.
And how long have you been in that assignment?
Over a year.
How long have you been a police officer?
I've been a police officer for 12 years.
Were you working on May 16th, 2001 at approximately 3:30 in the afternoon?
Yes, I was.
And what were you doing on that day?
I was working in an undercover capacity for the bait car operation.
And what is a bait car operation?
Bait car operation is a vehicle that we equipped with a video camera. We have the car. It's equipped with equipment that we use a radio to, well, we monitor the car. We place it out in a location. We have the capabilities of shutting down the engine. The locking the doors and the windows do not work. So if a person were to go into the car, they would be stuck inside the car. So.
And a bait car operation, what does that mean generally? You said you place it in the community?
Correct. Basically, stations will call us. A station will call us and say, we're having a high crime area.
How do you determine what community to go to?
They usually call us.
Who is they?
Any agency. Whittier PD, Alhambra PD. We are a multi-agency, so we work with various agencies.
And when you get a call from one of these cities, Whittier, for instance, what do?
Oh, we go there. We talk to the detectives, the auto theft detectives. They inform us that they are having a high crime of auto thefts.
Why would you go to this location?
They would request our services in preventing auto thefts.
They just call you out of the blue?
Most of the time, they have a high crime of auto thefts.
Ms. Torres, I have already ruled. Move it on. You know what the objection was, so let's move on.
Based on that information, what do you do next?
Our team, TRAP, we go out there. We assist the agencies in a bait car operation to prevent or deter auto thefts.
And that's what you were doing on May 16th?
That is correct.
Was there a video camera and microphone equipped in that vehicle that day?
Yes, there was.
What vehicle were you driving that day?
A 1998 Honda Accord, green in color.
Okay. Your Honor, may I mark this photograph as Peoples 1 for identification?
All right, it's marked.
Detective LaPlante, I'm showing you what's been marked as Peoples 1 for identification. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
That was the vehicle I was driving on May 16th, and that was our bait car.
And on that day when you were driving the vehicle, was the videotape running while you were actually in the car?
That is correct. It was.
Your Honor, may I have the videotape marked as Peoples 2 for identification?
Marked.
I am going to need to do a little rewind on this.
Are you going to play that now?
I need to play the portion where she's inside the vehicle. Maybe I should bring it up here.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know what.
Microphone's dying.
Hmm?
Your microphone's dying.
Mine is?
Yes.
I think you're pretty loud for this. What do you think? Let me pause it. Let me pause over here. This is your second multi-voice time writing at 140 words per minute. Your proper names are Mr. Garcia, Mr. Brown, Mr. Scott, District Attorney's Office, Mr. Roberts, Judge Mace, and Gus Garcia. It is going to begin with colloquy by the court. Ready?
There was a hearing on motion for shock.
To go in and argue for the shop probation
And that was canceled?
at the request of the clients after we went up and explained to them how Mr. Garcia was going to be extremely agitated if we were successful.
Okay,
But that still, if they wanted to, we'd go ahead with it. It's just, that's a gamble we've got to take with Mr. Garcia. If we win the shock probation, then what will Mr. Garcia do? It could have been a hollow threat. It could have been a real threat. We didn't know, but it was their choice. Nobody is forcing anybody to do anything here.
okay,
These are grown men. I did the best I could for these guys. And I know everybody can be a Monday morning quarterback. And I guess I should have done more to keep Mr. Brown out of prison, to keep all these guys out of prison. I don't know what I could have done. I'm sorry they went to prison. I'm glad they're out of prison. Not a good place to be for anybody.
did you have,
Yeah, I just have one question. But Mr. Scott, as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney for all these many years, isn't it true that in about 99% or higher of the cases that are pled guilty on any kind of plea recommendation, that is the sentence that the defendant gets?
I don't know what I can't agree to your percentages, okay?
Okay,
But certainly most of the time, the court will follow the recommendation. Now, I'll take it one step further. The times that I've seen judges bust pleas is when the judge thinks that it's not harsh enough, and they simply tell you, I'm not going to accept this recommendation.
yeah,
Do you want to withdraw it because the district attorney is being too lenient here and I'm not going to follow it?
right,
That's what I see more often than not
but
when a plea gets busted.
right. But I'm not talking about that circumstance. Let me just refine my question a little more. I'm talking about when there is a plea recommendation, whether it's from the probation department or from the district attorney's office as it is now. And that plea recommendation is submitted to the court in connection with the defendant pleading and the state agreeing to that plea, and the court accepts it. That is generally the sentence that the defendant gets.
Generally, Mr. Roberts.
I'm saying like above 90% in all the cases.
I don't know what the percentages would be.
Well, I'm going to cut that off because I think what we're dealing with now, we're really getting into speculation. I mean, here the question is what did happen in this case, not
Well, I understand.
anecdotal incidents of when judges deviate upward or downward from a plea agreement.
I think we could probably come up with some pretty firm statistics on that.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is that in this case,
Yes,
the plea recommendation was 10.
yes,
He was admonished by the trial judge prior to his entering his plea that it was going to be 10. And quoting Judge Mace, you are giving up whatever possibility you would have of receiving a probated sentence. And Mr. Brown says yes,
yes.
and then enters his plea. And yet a month later is making a probation pitch, or at least a shock probation pitch to the court, and it's being entertained by the court despite Gus Garcia's recommendation or, outburst or whatever, and is on the table all the way up until February the 9th, when there's a hearing set on the question of shock probation, and then it gets canceled.
But then again, we have the retaliatory acts of the prosecutor.
We're not here on that, are we?
No, but it shows that there really is thought to be a firm bargain between prosecutors and defense attorneys when this sort of thing is entered into.
But on December 28th, Judge Mace already
Oh, that was this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's it.